What happens when Alpha Flight joins the fray in X-Men number 12 because Cyclops seems to have a bounty on his head? You know what we're talking about. What are you waiting on? Roll that intro, cuz.
Yeah.
What's going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Earth Mac, the Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media Channel and another episode of Comic Book Declassified, where we talk about the most recent issues in comics, as well as past issues, as well as character bios, if you ask for it. You already know we are talking about X-Men number 12, featuring Alpha Flight, the Canadian superhero team. So let's jump into it. So X-Men number 12 obviously is written by Jed MacKay, anchors is Sean Parsons and Livesay, letterer is Clayton Cowles, penciler is Nito Diaz, colorist is first Cifuentes Sujo, various cover artists and Ryan Stegman, JP Mayer, Marty Garcia, and several variant cover artists, man. So if you want to get yourself some variants, go to your nearest comic book store and get yourself some variants, man. Support these artists out here. I'm gonna tell you right now, I have been thoroughly enjoying X-Men, like adjectiveless X-Men, and that says a lot because one of my favorite X-Men, especially growing up, was Wolverine. I think that was most people's favorite was Wolverine, Gambit. Cyclops wasn't really the favorite because, you know, in X-Men the animated series, he was of the clean cut, you know, copish type of character, but you really know his leadership skills in the comics, and you saw glimpses of that, actually a lot of that, in X-Men 97. But Cyclops got some issues going on right now, so let's go into it. So the story starts out with Department H, because in Alpha Flight 2023 number 1 through 5, this is the result of what they were dealing with up to now. So in Department H, they are now sort of kind of prisoners because they helped out the mutants, and because they're mutants themselves, right? Like, I mean, come on now, why would I fight against my own kind? Obviously there are some ops out there, but Alpha Flight is pretty much incarcerated and at Department H's beck and call. Now, as it starts out, it says you observe the prisoner's agent Arsenal and you studied their files, so please tell the council what do you make of them. And Arsenaut says, in short, sir, Alpha Flight are heroes at the end of the day, and however, they are also criminals, hence their incarceration. Where those two identities intersect is the key to this project. And when they sided with the mutants during the unpleasantness, they broke the law and paid the price for it. So they're all on TV, you know, being portrayed as traitors. But Arsenal has another use for them, because she says, but Canada was left without a superhuman response team, and this is a waste of resources of both the superhuman and public relations varieties. They are heroes, which means they wish to do good, to help people. Our project aims to let them do just that, and they are criminals, which means they are at the mercy of the state, us, as in Department H. So in a way, they're a Suicide Squad without being the Suicide Squad. You know, they don't have bombs in their necks or anything like that. They're still at the mercy of Department H. And honestly and truly, the team can really escape if they really want to, but they choose not to do that because, hey, we did the crime, we're going to do the time, this is what we're going to do. But they're still able to go out and save people because at the end of the day, they are heroes. So, you know, as you talk about the Guardian, you talk about Puck and Snowbird and Marina and Shaman, all these individuals are part of the Alpha Flight team. Now, Alpha Flight was introduced in X-Men number 11, and they're going to help out the X-Men. And obviously, they got a new leader in Arsenal, and Arsenal's name is Vindicator. So, as you see, she says, Guardian, you're with me, Strafe and Run. Puck, Marina, and Snowbird, you're our boarding team. Disable this thing's heart. I want it put down before it reaches a populated area. But going forward, let's talk about the superhero team in the X-Men. Now, the X-Men, this is the most powerful team in recent memory of the X-Men. You got Juggernaut, you got Magic, you know, you got Temper, you got Cyclops, you know, you got all these individuals, like a lot of telepathy. You got Juggernaut. Juggernaut is your real step up, really. So what do you do against that? So they're going against not enemies of Earth, but enemies that came from space. And what do you do with that? Cyclops, they got this person that can absorb optic blast. For Juggernaut, his main thing is momentum. So if you slow down his momentum, Juggernaut is no longer a threat. So what did they do? They stopped this man momentum. It says inertia foam can stop a Nova at top speed, and you're no Nova. And so as far as magic is concerned, magic can teleport. She can do all kinds of things, but they was able to push her back and away from all the fray. So the main focus here for this alien bounty hunter team is to get Cyclops. And the person that gets Cyclops is Captain Carco. Cyclops said, listen, Quentin, they were ready for us. Countermeasures for all of our powers. And Carco's like, correct. If you wish to capture this so strange alien as an X-Man, then you hire the very best in extreme zoology. Dr. Zonto Starblood at your service, and I think you will find my capture method satisfactory, Captain Carcos. And satisfactory indeed, Dr. Starblood. So you have Dr. Starblood and Captain Carcos, but they had a plan in motion for the X-Men. So this was countermeasures. Now, what did Cyclops actually do to get a bounty put on his head? Turns out, it's really nothing that he did. It's something that his wife is doing, is in the Phoenix, because the Phoenix is not on Earth. The Phoenix is out in space. Now, if you really want to know more about Phoenix, she does have her own solo comic book run. Go ahead and check it out. And he's like, listen, what do you want me for? And he says, listen, because my fine Earther are one of the few denizens of this primitive planet with galactic importance, the Phoenix is active once more, and she is making a lot of people very angry. But if she could be brought to heel, if someone could control the Phoenix, then that someone will be a very powerful someone indeed. And take it from seasoned space pirate, there's no better way to control someone than to have a hostage, like a mate, perhaps. So his whole philosophy is to hold Cyclops hostage, to hold Phoenix at bay. I don't think you know what you're dealing with here, sir. We talking about the Phoenix, and I feel like she can save her husband at any point in time. And if you decide to harm him, like you go back in previous issues of Cyclops, I do have that link in the description below, so go ahead and check that out. He actually explained, if anything was to happen to me, Phoenix will come down and she probably will burn this thing to the ground. She will knock all this shit over. But that's exactly what she's going to do. So they take Cyclops and they're going into orbit. Now, the X-Men that's on Earth, Vindicator and Guardian, they are flying towards Earth. And Tipper is like, listen, I can create a flame blast as we need, but I can't risk it without people inside. But Guardian's like, listen, we can work together. We just need to finesse between Arsenal, Vindicator, and myself. We can manipulate electromagnetic fields. Now, Guardian has a hard time calling Arsenal Vindicator because earlier in the comics, which is we haven't seen yet, or you haven't seen, I want you guys to go out there and read the comic yourself, that the team is not really warm and fuzzy about calling Arsenal Vindicator for reasons. And he'll say, listen, you supply fire and we can adjust with the electromagnetic field. And they were able to take down this ship and come back and save Cyclops. But here's how they did it. He's like, listen, the Earth has generated some kind of plasma flare, sheared the port maneuver flipper. He's like, listen, we can still get out of the atmosphere. As long as the rest of the ship is functional, we can still get away. He's like, sir, that's the thing. We lost communication with the Heart Chamber 1 because Alpha Flight is in Heart Chamber 1 because the ship is ran by a heart and the engine. So, of course, he was like, listen, we've lost Heart Chamber 1. He's like, looks like you're not getting off this rock after all, Captain Carcos. And so Carcos is like, listen, you're showing your lack of education, Summers. As any extreme zoologist knows, Akanti have two hearts. And he was like, and you can't count, my boy. Look, you might be a zoologist, but your math ain't mathing correctly. Your computers ain't puting right now. He said, look, you only handled 3 X-Men. And there were 4 in my boarding party. And Psylocke is in Chamber 2, destroying the heart in Chamber 2. And it was a wrap from them. Now everybody has come to, because you know the X-Men was caught by surprise. And I feel like the best way to beat this team of X-Men is to catch them off guard. Like, you can't just come to Cyclops and say, listen, we coming to fight you. And then we coming to fight you in 2 days or whatever the case may be. Because Cyclops already going to have plans in place for your ass. And you're going to automatically lose. So the best way to best this X-Men team is to catch them by surprise. And no matter what the situation is. But Magic was able to come to grab Cyclops, grab Alpha Flight, grab Psylocke, grab Juggernaut, and Magic had time to give her hand signal to Starblood and Zarko. So like, listen, y'all have a good time out here. We'll holler at you. Now, that sends the ship crashing down to Earth, and he's like, listen, damn, this dirty little planet, always a disaster. And she's like, I'd stay down, eh? Which is a Canadian term, eh? And you say, look, but hey, buds, feel free to try us out once again. Because Starblood and Zarkos, they're done. They're done. I mean, it was a good plan in theory, but it was what it was. Now, you might look at this issue and like, you know what? This is like one of those issues I do not have to read. But in the last page, this is the start of a new storyline that is coming out, and it involves a very notable X-Men. So, going through this, it says, well, it's not on the town, so I suppose that's a win. And my dad is negotiating with the Kree Skrull Empire to collect the bounties on all these guys. So he's happy. Glad someone is. So Cyclops goes on to say, Mac, you stood up for us and you're still paying for it. You, all of the Alpha Flight deserves better than this. Say the word and the X-Men will break you out. And Guardian's like, nah. We made our choice. We knew what it could mean. And this is how we showed them that they were wrong. As a fugitive, I'm nothing. But as Guardian, as Alpha Flight, I'm a symbol. We all are. We shamed them with every life we save. I'll be free soon enough, Scott. And so he gets a call. Scott like, look, excuse me, Mac. Like, what is it, Hank? Hank tells him it's Charles, Scott, Professor Xavier. He's escaped. Now, we talking about X-Manhunt, that new storyline. Now, listen, if you want me to go ahead and cover X-Manhunt, but you know what? I'm probably going to do it anyway. Let us know, how did you feel about X-Men number 12 in the comment section below? You ought to know what to do. Now, this storyline goes with X-Men number 11, which we already read. X-Men number 11. Well, I'm sorry. Uncanny X-Men number 11. Part 2 is NYX number 9. And Storm number 6, part 3. Adjectiveless X-Men, part 4. X-Factor, part 5. X-Men, Exceptional X-Men, number 7, Collateral Damage. X-Force is part 6. And X-Manhunt Omega number 1 is the finale. Now, it also says that Xavier leaves a trail of psychic devastation behind him. The X-Men battle his protector, Storm, of all people, Mistress of the Storm Sanctuary. And can the X-Men prevail against one of the world's most powerful mutants and protect not only themselves, but the world from Xavier's corrosive dreams? Man, this is shaping up to be a very good storyline because, you know, especially in the comics, I mean, you know, TV series, we know Charles Xavier to be like this, like benevolent type of character, this character that can do no wrong or whatever the case may be. But Professor Xavier has his flaws. Like, he's done some real shady stuff. So he ain't as squeaky clean as people will depict him as. But X-Manhunt, yes, this is a storyline I feel like everybody should be reading in Marvel, especially if you love X-Men, if you love the mutants and what they got going on, because adjectiveless X-Men has been on the money, and I very much appreciate this comic. Yo, you already know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. So until next time, y'all, peace.